Sheikh Abdul Hakim, a frequent speaker at MCMC, said something very profound. He said, I've been to hundreds of masajid all over the country, and whenever I've seen people raise their hands in response to an appeal, there's always this big smile on their face. Subhanallah, just let that sink in. It's like imagine if someone jumps in a swimming pool, it is 100% guaranteed that this person will get wet. Similarly, once we donate for the sake of Allah, it's like jumping in a pool filled with happiness. You are guaranteed to be drenched in happiness. Brothers and sisters, we are reaching out to you with an urgent appeal regarding MCMC operations. There has been no Jummah collection for almost 2 months now, and now with the masjid closed during Ramadan, it is indeed a huge financial burden. Ramadan is the time we collect funds that enable us to do hundreds of programs throughout the year. We collect funds to improve our security, to improve the overall facility, and to do outreach work throughout the year. Times are tough, and no doubt there are hundreds of good causes to donate, but upkeeping your home has to be the number one priority. If MCMC is where you pray your daily prayers, if this is the place where you pray Jummah, Taraweeh, Eid, if this is the place where your kids learn about Allah and His Messenger, then this is your home. This is your primary responsibility to maintain your home. Please visit mcmcnj.org/themasjid and support and upkeep your home. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and your family and fill your heart with happiness.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والفجر وليال عشر والشفع والوتر والليل إذا يسر هل في ذلك قسم لذي حجر ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بعاد إرم ذات العماد التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد وفرعون ذي الأوتاد الذين طغوا في البلاد فأكثروا فيها الفساد فصب عليهم ربك سوط عذاب إن ربك لبالمرصاد فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أكرمن وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه رزقه فيقول ربي أهانن كلا بل لا تكرمون اليتيم ولا تحاضون على طعام المسكين وتأكلون التراث أكلا لما وتحبون المال حبا جما كلا إذا دكت الأرض دكا دكا وجاء ربك والملك ولا يوثق وثاقه أحد يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalamu ala Rasulihil Kareem amma ba'd. All praises due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Welcome everyone to another Ramadan Stars. So let me share my screen. All right. So today's topic is a true celebrity. Okay, so we're going to learn how the Prophet ﷺ was the true celebrity, a real celebrity. We're going to talk about how and when the Prophet ﷺ finally arrived in Medina after so long, so much struggle and all that. Now finally the Prophet ﷺ escapes Mecca and makes the journey to Medina and finally gets to Medina. All right, so before we get started, as always, I want to remind all the kids, all the parents to please remember the masjid in this beautiful month of Ramadan. If you get a chance, make sure you give some charity and support your masjid. Also, remember that this coming Monday, a very special speaker will be joining MCMC. His name is Yasir Qadi, and he will be talking about Laylatul Qadr. So everyone is invited and everyone is encouraged to attend that event. So with that, we're going to get to the topic. So when I say the word Medina, name Medina, what is the first thing that comes to people's mind? Please type on the YouTube chat. What do you think of when you hear the name, the word Medina? Let's see. What do you think of? I'm looking at the YouTube chat. By the way, some people are also dialing on Facebook, so I can only look at the YouTube right now. So I don't know if you're on Facebook, I won't be able to see. All right, so somebody mentioned Kaaba, which I believe you're probably thinking of Quba. So first of all, that's very interesting. I see Zainab saying Masjid al-Nabawi, right? So most people would say Masjid al-Nabawi when they hear the name, when they think about Medina. But as somebody already pointed out, there's also another famous masjid in Medina, or very close. What is the name of that masjid? Anybody? No, anybody wants to take a guess? There's another very famous masjid in Medina. And that is Masjid what? Basically, that's what we're going to talk about today. Very good. Zainab said Masjid Quba, and this is what it looks like. And I actually visited this masjid a few months ago. This is called Masjid Quba. So this is what it looks like. You see Masjid Quba right at the bottom here. This is Masjid Quba. And right at the top right here is Masjid Nabawi. So from Masjid Quba to Masjid Nabawi, it's about 11-minute drive by car. That's how far Masjid Quba is from Masjid Nabawi. Just so that everybody gets an idea where it is. All right, so now what are we going to talk about?
Masjid Quba was actually the first masjid. If anybody asked you as like a quiz question, what was the first masjid to be built? It was actually Masjid Quba. It was not Masjid Nabawi, it was Masjid Quba. So that's something very important for all of us to know. The very first masjid to be ever built in the life of the Prophet ﷺ was Masjid Quba, not Masjid Nabawi. Secondly, we're going to talk about this today. This is really where the Prophet ﷺ arrived. He didn't go straight to where the Masjid Nabawi was built. He actually first arrived in Quba, he met everybody, and then he proceeded to Medina, where they know the famous story where the camel stopped and they built the masjid. But the main arrival was actually in Quba. All right, that's important to know. And just as a side note, I know nobody can go to Saudi Arabia these days, but whenever you get a chance to go, make sure you visit Masjid al-Quba, because if you just pray 2 rak'ah prayer, just 2 rak'ah prayer in Masjid al-Quba, you will get a reward for an umrah. So it's a very special masjid, and we all should try to go there. So now what is the story? The arrival. Now we're actually going to talk about what happened when the Prophet ﷺ arrived in Masjid al-Quba. First of all, we should all know that everybody was waiting for Prophet Muhammad ﷺ to come to Medina. They already knew that he had left, but obviously they didn't have cell phones, they didn't have the internet, there was no plane or anything like that. They didn't know exactly when the Prophet ﷺ is going to arrive. So what used to happen is almost 500 people, okay, almost 500 people every single day, they would go out of their homes and they would go and just basically wait. They would wait, oh, is the Prophet ﷺ here? Is he here? Is he here? And then they would wait and wait and wait, from morning until mid-afternoon, late afternoon, until it would get so hot that it would just not be easy to stay outside, and they would go back. And then they would do that again the next day. And then they would do that again the next day. And they kept waiting and waiting and waiting. They just couldn't wait to see the Prophet ﷺ. So that's something very, very important. Then what happened was one day, there was a man, he was on the roof of his home. Okay, that's not really him. That's just showing somebody on the rooftop. And he saw from very far, he saw 2 people coming. And he couldn't recognize those 2 people, but he just knew it, that this person wasn't actually Muslim. So he told all the Muslims around him, your prophet is here. Your prophet is here. And he told everybody, okay, this is the person who you all have been waiting for so many days. He's here. And so he announced it to everyone. And everybody heard it and they got really, really excited. They're like, yes, the Prophet ﷺ is finally here. And so they got really excited. They all went in big groups to go see the Prophet ﷺ. But there was a problem. What was the problem? Well, the problem was this. What is this picture? This picture is showing identical twins. All right, so now I'm going to ask a question. Who was the Prophet ﷺ traveling with? When he was coming to Medina, who was his companion? Type the answer in the YouTube chat. Who was he traveling with? Who was his companion? Who was? Okay, Zainab said it. Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr was his companion. So what happened was Abu Bakr, he was almost the same age as the Prophet ﷺ, and Abu Bakr absolutely loved the Prophet ﷺ. So he used to dress up like the Prophet ﷺ. He used to walk like the Prophet ﷺ. He used to try to smile like the Prophet ﷺ. He used to just try to copy everything about the Prophet ﷺ. So because he used to copy Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he actually like looked like him, and he walked like him. So there wasn't much difference between the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and Abu Bakr in terms of the way they're walking, the way they're carrying themselves. So there was a problem. The problem was all these people who were waiting for the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they now suddenly don't know who the prophet is. They thought, oh, maybe Abu Bakr is the prophet, or is the prophet? Like, couldn't recognize him. So, how did they finally figure it out? Well, as Abu Bakr and Prophet Sallallahu were walking, they found a tree. Okay, and because they were really, really tired, they decided they're gonna get some rest under the tree. So they both sat down under the tree to get some shade. Now, what happened was, as they're sitting down, suddenly the sun, like sometimes the shade it moved, right? So suddenly there was a lot of sun that was appearing on the Prophet ﷺ. So when Abu Bakr, he saw that, he quickly tried to cover, or he tried to provide shade to the Prophet ﷺ. Like let's say somebody is walking and they have an umbrella, and one person is trying to provide cover to the other person with the umbrella. That's basically what Abu Bakr was trying to do with the Prophet ﷺ. And so when people saw that, they realized, oh, that one must be the Prophet ﷺ, and this one must be Abu Bakr. So that's how they finally figured out who it was. So that was really interesting problem that they had. Then there was a welcome song. Now, some people say maybe the song wasn't sung at this point of time, but some people say this song was sung at that time. So all these 500 people, when they finally saw Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they were so excited, they sang the song. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to try to play the song. So let me see. All right, hopefully you guys can see the screen. This is what happened. All right, 1 second. I know.
رسول الله.
All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that song. Did you guys see how many people there were there to welcome Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? So that's really how he entered and entered Cuba, and then it went on from there. One other thing, very interesting. So there was a story about Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu and a man called Sahel. Now, just so that everybody is clear, so the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he arrived in Cuba, and then he stayed in Cuba for about maybe 10, 12 days. And if you guys remember, he had told Ali to sleep on his bed in Mecca and return all the stuff that he was leaving behind. So Ali was the last person to actually join the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So about 3-4 days later, when Ali was finally there with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he also stayed in Cuba for a few days. And so Ali reported this very interesting story. He said that there was this man, his name was Sahel, and I noticed something really interesting about Sahel. He noticed that every single day, Sahel would go and deliver something. He would go to one Muslim's house, and he would go and deliver something every single day, because this lady, she didn't have a husband, she didn't have any family, and basically she needed help. And so every single day, Sahel would go to her place and deliver something. And then later on, Ali asked that lady, what was it that he would deliver? And she said that he would actually just deliver some firewood. He would cut up some wood, and he would make sure every single day, every single night, I would have some firewood with me. And so Ali, was really, really impressed by that. And many, many years later, he would actually constantly give the example of Sahel being such a good Muslim, going out of his way and trying to take care of the needs of his fellow brothers and sisters. And so this is very important. The reason I wanted to share this was it happened in Cuba. This is where Ali noticed this happening. And the second thing was, it reminds me of something that MCMC is doing these days, and that is Iftar on Wheels. If you all have not heard yet, this is one of the most successful things in Ramadan this year, where a lot of the brothers are going to different families and serving and delivering iftar to these people. So it's something very, very important for all of us to remember. So this was basically the short lesson for today. What are some lessons that we can reflect on? Number one, we should all know about Masjid Quba, right? Masjid Quba is a very special masjid. It is the first masjid that was built by the Muslims. So that's something we all should know. And who can remind me, put it on the chat, what happens when you go to Masjid Quba and you pray 2 rakah prayer? What kind of reward do you get? What kind of reward do you get? Who remembers? All right, going once, going twice. You get the reward for, oh, somebody got it. S. Khan, you get the reward for Umrah. Very good. And the second lesson is Abu Bakr wanted to be just like the Prophet, right? So there was this confusion, who is who? And what we learn here is that Abu Bakr, he loved the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam so much that he wanted to be just like him. So it's a very good lesson for all of us that if we want to love the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we should try to learn more about him and try to really follow every single thing he did in our lives. So that's something that we learn. And then of course, the last lesson was about serving people, right? So we learned from the story of Sahel and Ali, how Ali noticed Sahel serving, people every single day, delivering wood to them. So that's something also very, very important. So these are three basic lessons that we learn about the Prophet's arrival in Medina. And then finally, again, I want to remind everyone, Ramadan is a month of charity. Go to mcmcnj.org/themasjid and make sure you put in some donations for the masjid. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us all the tawfiq to learn about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to inculcate the lessons in our lives. Ameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah